I'm going to ask Cida and Henry to come here, please. No? And you are going to have the opportunity to practice your English, to ask some questions to them. Henry, Cida, okay? And they are spending their time here in Brazil. Okay, they are very kind because they are spending with us their time just to help you to improve your English and your conversation, right? So, this is that. I know that you have prepared some questions, right? Who is the first to ask something to our special guest?
What do you think of Curitiba?
What do I think of Curitiba? I think it is a nice city. I think it is well organized. I came here once as a tourist before I met my wife. I found it an interesting city then. The people are nice, they are friendly. Does that answer your question?
Do you like Brazilian foods?
Brazilian food?
Yeah.
Yes, I like Brazilian food very much. I can tell you which ones I like best. Would you like to know?
Which Brazilian food?
Pão de queijo, feijoadas, churrasco.
And caipirinha?
Caipirinha is good, but it is not one of my favorite Brazilian foods. Also, I would say caipirinha to me is a Brazilian drink.
Yeah.
Food we eat, drinks.
Before feijoada.
Yes.
Do you like the Brazilian beaches?
Brazilian beaches, yes, I like them. I have seen a few, like in Rio de Janeiro, Guarujá, Florianopolis. Yes, I like them. The best? That's difficult. I don't know. I don't know. I do not go to in most countries I do not go to beaches very much. I like mountains, I like lakes. Beaches I like, but not as much as mountains and lakes. Brazil has good beaches, I know. Yes.
What's the best place to visit in your country?
In my country? That's difficult. Of course, it is difficult for me because I live in London, I was born in Oxford, and I studied in Cambridge, which are three of the best places. If you like history, I think perhaps Oxford. If you like scenery, perhaps you should go to what we call the Highlands of Scotland. That is in the far north of Great Britain. If you like theatre and music, you should go to London. Those are some ideas. If you like football, I would say the best place is Manchester.
What else?
Yes?
How many countries do you know? How many countries do you know?
How many countries do I know? I think I have been to about 15. I do not know exactly. It is something like that. There are 4 countries where I have lived, counting my country. I have lived in 4. I have been to about another 10, I think. I could give you a list of them. It's probably about 15. If you want to know more, I can tell you.
Uh,
Yes.
do you like football?
Yes, I like football.
What's your favorite time in team?
It's difficult to say because I do not support one football team. I prefer rugby to football, though I like football. I suppose I do not always support one team. Sometimes there will be a team which I think I like the way they play football. They are exciting.
I have another question. What's your favorite team here in Paraná?
Yes.
Capão
All right, I will
Raso.
answer the question. I will give you an honest answer. It is Atlético Paranaense.
Goodbye, goodbye.
It was nice to meet you.
Okay, and you, she like she have any time in here?
I like to spend time here.
Yes.
I like very much, especially because my family lives here. So I like very much. And also because it's my country, the city I used to live for a long time. I have friends, great friends here, and I really enjoy it very much.
Yeah. Do I like Harry Potter? I have not read any of the books. They sound like they are exciting. When I was a child, I liked books like that.
Conhece?
Was there a question there?
What's your graduation?
My graduation, at university I studied history. Later I studied accountancy to qualify as an accountant. Yes.
Did you arrive today?
No, we arrived on Wednesday. Yes? No, we do not have children. Yes.
Do you meet a big fest, Brazilian fest of Carnival?
I have not been to a Brazilian carnival. No, I have heard a lot about it, but I have not been to a Brazilian carnival. People know it is one of the few things that people in Britain think about when they think of Brazil. One of the things they think about is the carnival.
In England, they don't have Carnival.
Well, not like that, but we do have some carnivals. For example, in August in London there is something called the Notting Hill Carnival. It is mainly a festival of people who come from islands in the Caribbean, islands like Jamaica and Trinidad. So these are black people. It is a festival mainly with their music and their culture, but the white people in Britain also like it.
Yeah.
And there are other big parties we have. For example, in Scotland for New Year, they have a big party in the street for New Year. They call it something different in Scotland. So there are some festivals, but they are not like the Brazilian Carnival. Probably not as good. Yes?
What do you think about
Brazilian music, I quite like it. I don't listen to it a lot. But I quite like it. It is not my favorite, but I think it is quite good. Yes?
How many languages do you speak?
I speak, if you include English, I speak 4 languages.
What?
No.
What?
Which languages? German, French, and there is another which I have been asked not to mention. I will tell you at the end if you want to know.
What did you use to hear from Brazil before you met your wife?
What did I hear about Brazil before I met my wife? Well, I had been to Brazil twice before I met my wife. So I had actually been, I had been to Rio de Janeiro, São Paulo, Curitiba, Iguaçu Falls, and Belo Horizonte before I came here. Before I came to Brazil for the first time, would you like to hear that?
What do usually people from England hear from Brazil?
Okay, what I would say there are perhaps about 5 things which most people in England think about when they think about Brazil. There is football, there is carnival, there is coffee, there is the rainforest. Then there are other things it could be, perhaps music, things like that. Before I came to Brazil, I thought it is an interesting country, but it is too dangerous for me to go there alone. I do not think I would have gone to Brazil if I had not met a Brazilian couple in London who said, you should come and see us in Brazil. Because I thought if I was with Brazilian people, at least for some of the time, it would be all right. Because we have heard a lot about crime in Brazil. So I came and it was good, and well, you know already, I came back because I liked it. Yes.
Have you relatives in Brazil?
Well, only through my wife. My wife's family.
She's Brazilian?
Yes.
Oh. Good people.
Yes? Sorry? My hobby? Things I do when I'm not working. Things I like to do when I'm not working. Okay. I like to watch sport. I go to rugby games. I watch football and rugby and athletics on TV. I am a member of my local church. My wife and I do quite a lot there. I like to go walking, especially in the country where there is nice scenery, especially in countries where they have mountains and lakes. I am interested in politics as well, so I am not a member of a political party. I am still interested in history, which is what I studied. I like to listen to music. There are other things too, but perhaps those are some of the most important ones. Yes?
Have you been at any amusement park in Brazil?
Any amusement parks or museums and parks? Yes, I have. For example, Museu de Arte de São Paulo in São Paulo, Museu Nacional in Rio de Janeiro, some of the parks here in Curitiba like Parque Barigui, Parque Tanguá, Parque Alemão, Bosque João Paulo II, Parque Tingui.
What do you think about the park?
The parks and museums in Brazil. I like them. I think the museums, yes, they are interesting. The parks, a lot of them I like. Some, it seems there are 2 types. Some, it seems to me, someone has designed the park, like Parque Tanguá. You have the buildings there. It is designed, we would call it landscaped. There are others like Parque Barigui which seem a bit more wild, a bit more natural. There are different types of parks. I like them both. It depends what I want to do. If I want to go for a long walk, I prefer a park which is more wild.
Did you meet Museu do Olho, Oscar Niemeyer?
Oscar Niemeyer, I have been to the Museo Oscar Niemeyer.
Yes.
In Curitiba.
Do you meet?
I have not met Oscar Niemeyer. I have not.
The museum.
I've been to the museum.
Museum de eye.
The eye, yes. I've been to it, yes.
Do you think?
Sorry?
Do you think the museum?
I think it is quite good. My brother and I, we both went there. We liked the exhibition. The architecture is interesting.
The modern museum?
Yes, modern. My brother very much likes modern art and modern architecture, so he, I think, likes it a lot. Likes it very much.
Do you attend the church? Which church there?
Which church do we go to? It is called a Baptist church. Yes, it is very close to where we live. So most of the people who go there are people who live in our area.
Have you gone there?
When I come to Curitiba, I go with my wife to the church which she used to go to.
What else, people? Questions, Alessandro?
About Christmas in England.
Yes.
Just
England.
a minute.
So what,
In England.
How is the Christmas
Yes.
time in England?
okay, well, first of all, it is usually cold. Sometimes we have snow, sometimes we do not. People spend a lot of money. People go to the shops.
It's lights.
Yes, we have a lot of lights,
The-
especially mainly in the main streets.
It's tree.
Yes, Christmas trees, a lot of people have. Sometimes there are big ones in the main streets. Many people have a small Christmas tree in their house. We have a traditional English Christmas meal. I can tell you about it if you want.
And children's.
Yeah, well, the
Happy.
Christmas meal, usually the family eat it together. They have turkey with potatoes and vegetables, and they have a special dessert which we call Christmas pudding. What else? People usually give a lot of presents at Christmas. That is part of the reason why they spend a lot of money.
There is a turkey.
Turkey is what we eat traditionally. Not every family has it, but that is the traditional English Christmas lunch. Perhaps for the last 100 years.
Pork meat.
It's a big bird.
Pork meat.
Turkey is a big bird that makes a lot of meat. So that is the kind of meal that we have. Some people go to church, my wife and I do. Some people don't. I would guess most people do not now. Many people go away at Christmas. It may be they live in one town, their family are in another town, they go to visit their family. Other people will go to a country where the weather is warmer because they don't like the cold weather which we have in December in England. We don't usually go away. This year we have done it, but that is just to visit my wife's family in Brazil.
I'd like to ask a question. Actually, it's related to learning
Yes.
improving our English. What are practices of advice that can give us to improving things related to accent, pronunciation?
Accent and pronunciation. That is perhaps the harder one. If you are able either to listen to radio programs in English or see TV programs in English, perhaps it is easier now, perhaps with the internet, sometimes to do this. You can go perhaps to the website of the BBC and there will be, mainly it is things written, but sometimes you can find something where you hear someone talking as well. If you can get CDs or DVDs where, some are in more than one language, if they have something in English as well, then you can listen to someone speaking English. Sometimes even music CDs can be useful because you hear someone singing in English. Okay, often the accent is American, but that's all right. It is still the accent of a country where people speak English. So those are examples. I think if you can find something to listen to in English, that will help. Sometimes the best actually is if you have something which is, people speak in English, but you have subtitles, text in Portuguese. Because then you read Portuguese, you listen to English, and you can see, you can understand better. Is that helpful? Okay.
When we start English, for example, we have to choose between American English or British English.
Yes.
It's a question of fluency.
Yes, I think so. I need, obviously, I am British, but I have to admit, in Britain there are 60 million people, in the USA there are 250 million. There are far more Americans than there are British. Of course there are other English accents too, like Australian, New Zealand, South African. In the end, yes, it is taste. Usually, it does not matter very much which accent you use, because if you speak with an American accent, a British person will understand you. If you speak with a British accent, an American person will understand you. Of course, there are some accents in both countries which are very difficult. But you are thinking of the usual American accent, the usual English accent, I think. Yes. Sorry? It is possible. My wife and I talk about it. Perhaps when we are older, we will live in Brazil.
There is a song by Paul McCartney that is When I'm 64.
Oh yes.
Do you know the song?
Yes. Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
So when you are 64, you might know.
Yes, or perhaps earlier. I do not know. Yes.
Did you think our presentation?
I liked it. It was good.
So.
The songs were good.
How long are you staying here?
We are spending 2 weeks here. We will be leaving in late December.
So what do you plan to do these days?
Well, we have a list of lots of people who we will go and see. Mainly it is that. We go and visit people, we have meals with people. Some come and have a meal with us at our hotel. A little time we will rest. Sometimes we will go shopping. Mainly we are here to see people.
You said earlier that you like mountains, so you're not going to go visit some of our mountains.
Not this time, we do not have time. I have been to, well, I try to think which mountains. I've been to Petropolis, which is in the Serra dos Orgãos, isn't it? And I once did the train journey from Curitiba to Paranaguá.
Yeah, this trip you've been taking before?
I have done it, yes. I liked it very much.
I think you should, if you want, you can ask them questions as well. What are you curious about Brazil? Because right, we are very curious about your country.
Okay. I don't know, I have not thought about it because, of course, there are lots of things I would like to know, it's just I do not know where to begin. Okay. Right. Can you start?
So I have a question here. Because I have a question for you. I will choose who will answer if you're happy to answer, but I'd like to went to get by studying English? Why I study English? Why I study English? Can I ask the people on the back? Can I? A boy.
The gentleman, why are you studying English?
Yeah, why are you studying English? What do you aim to get?
Causa universal.
Yeah.
Causa
Yes.
language universal.
Yes.
A very story, music in English, film in English.
Because professional formation.
I would like to visit many countries, and the English is very important for me.
So a language which people will understand in other countries.
Speak slowly, please.
A language which people in other countries will understand.
Spanish.
Okay.
Because
Also Spanish.
because is como
Lucia, I didn't get
como português, como
like Portuguese. Spanish is a little similar.
similar,
Portuguese,
similar.
Yes.
to that.
É isso que.
Can I ask a question? Ask a question? Yes. What's your name? Yes. What's your name? Do you have any dream about traveling? Have you ever traveled abroad, or do you have any dream about traveling abroad? Want to go anywhere abroad?
Traveling to other countries, traveling to England, to
Paraguay.
France, to have a dream. Yeah, do you dream about traveling?
You don't need to be nervous about speaking English. I'll tell one thing. I loved speaking English, and I was never shy. I was always alright. I was always happy to speak in English, even if I would make mistakes. So don't worry about making mistakes. I'm married to this handsome man for a long time, and I make mistakes in my English every day. So don't be shy. Don't worry about making mistakes. That's my advice for you. It's good. Make the most of this opportunity. It's good for you.
I would say the same thing as I have learned other languages. It was important to say something. If I made a mistake and someone said, no, you should have said this, I would learn the next time I could get it right. That helped me to learn languages. I do not like to make mistakes, but I know I must if I want to learn another language. Can I ask something now?
Sita, could you tell us about your meeting when you met your husband? Can you tell us a little about your history there?
Yes, I can. I will try to summarize. It's quite a beautiful story because I knew I was going to meet someone somewhere, and I was just living my life, and I always wanted to meet someone special that would love me. And I traveled to England not to meet someone special. I traveled to England because I wanted to improve my English. And 20 days later, I met him, and I looked at him and I said, oh my God. Oh gosh. And we became friends, and we ended up getting
How many time you talk in English?
every day. We speak English every day at home.
What time? What's a long time?
How long?
Oh, how long? Well, I study English a long time, so I won't tell exactly because otherwise you'll find out how old I am. So I started when I was
Talk. How many time? 1 year, 3 years, 5 years?
right. Well, I studied English in a course for about 5 years,
5 years.
Went to university, spent 4 years, lived 1 year abroad, and then came back, and then now I basically live about 7 years. It's quite a long time.
We study in 6 months.
Yeah, so I'm very proud of you. And that's great.
That's one important thing that we have to talk to, because people are thinking they spend 6 months or just 1 year and oh, I know everything.
No way.
It's
No way.
slow process. You have to
It is.
learn.
No.
Yes,
Yeah,
with any
I
language I
really
have
want-
found that.
You cannot even finish course and say that's right. What you need to do is nothing. You can never stop. Never stop. Otherwise you forget.
Yes, a course is a very good way to start.
Yeah.
Before it was the same with me at school. I started learning German, for instance, and then I went to Germany for 2 weeks, where I practiced a lot more, and I got better, and then I went back to school to learn more German. Then I went to Germany again, and I got better, but it took years. It is good to do a course. It is a good way to begin.
The course is only start
Yes.
for
Yes.
me.
This is a good start. Yes. You have a question?
How does it work?
My work.
Yeah.
I work for an organization which regulates financial services in Britain. So businesses like banks, insurance companies, companies like that. I am an accountant by training.
And you see what you have to do.
Administrator, and also I teach Portuguese in England now. Yes, teach some Portuguese now.
So you can see the people are interested. So they speak Portuguese.
If are interested to learn Portuguese, they should. Yes.
Yes.
What do you see left here?
Sorry?
Left here. Next year, what do you expect?
What do I expect next year? Well, that is difficult. I think there is for me, there is for my country, there is for the world. For me, I know there will be changes in my job because in my type of work, the government is always very interested. And our government has changed, and the new government says they want to change what we do. So one thing I know for certain is there will be changes. For my country, I think it will be a difficult year because there are many problems with our economy. We have spent a lot of money which we do not have. We have become used to spending money which we do not have, and we are going to have to change and to live with less. For the world, I think it could still be a difficult year, mainly because of economic problems. For some countries it can still be good. For Europe I think it will be difficult. For Brazil perhaps it will be better. What I hear is that things are getting better in Brazil. But what do you think? Do you think that things in Brazil are getting better than they were? What do you think? That's good.
Now we are in a new phase, you can say.
Good.
Woman president.
Yes.
It's an opportunity to see the woman power, and I think it's nice.
Good.
And let's see. See what happens.
Yes.
Let's study hard, work hard,
Yes.
and to make things better.
Yes.
The student president we have there, Lula, we have 8% of the
In any country that is very unusual. Very unusual. Especially at the end. Often at the beginning. a new leader is popular. We often see that in Britain. A new leader, when he has just been elected, is very popular. At the end, everybody hates him.
In your opinion, what's the best form to learn English?
The best form to learn English?
Yes.
Well, I think that obviously doing a course is important. It will take some time. Then, well, some things are harder, I know, for you in Brazil than for me, because what I would usually say to someone who wants to learn a language is it is good to go and spend some time in a country, say 2 weeks even, in a country where they speak that language. Now, I know you are a long way from any country where they speak English. So for you, I would say it is a bit like what I said earlier. If you can, for example, read newspapers in English on the internet,